Hello everyone, I'm Lao Gao. Today we're going to talk about a very special UFO incident, the UFO encirclement event. So many UFOs, right? This happened in Mexico City in 1975.
Isn't there often one in that place?
Yes, Mexico City is one of the few in the world. It's a place where UFOs frequently appear. Is there a river nearby? It's hard to say if there are any nuclear facilities, but UFOs always seem to emerge from a fixed location. I will mention May 3rd, 1975, when a pilot named CarlosDeLosSantos flew a small aircraft taking off from an airport in Mexico called Lázaro Cárdenas. Returning to Mexico City on that particular day, he was transporting an individual from Mexico City to Las Rosas. Then he returned from here. On the way back, he saw a UFO. He was flying a small civilian plane called the PA-24 Comanche, made by the American Piper Aircraft Corporation.
So small?
It's a very small type of plane, with a total of just 4 seats.
Such planes rarely encounter foreign services, right?
The flight altitude is quite low. Unlike the Boeing 747 we discussed before, which cruises at 10,000 meters, this plane usually cruises below 3,000 meters. It's above the clouds at under 3,000 meters, since clouds we usually see are between 600 and 2,500 meters. The distance from Lázaro Airport to Mexico City is only 375 meters, so even such a small and slow plane could get there in an hour. On that day, the weather conditions were excellent, the visibility was very clear, and the plane's condition was also very good. Ah yes, at that time Carlos was only 20 years old, so young. After Carlos's plane took off, everything went smoothly, and after flying for about an hour, just as he was about to reach Mexico City, he noticed something approaching his plane from the corner of his left eye. According to his description, it was a long, oval-shaped, grayish-white object about 4 meters in length. How did he know it was 4 meters? His aircraft was approximately 7 meters in length, and a disc-shaped object, somewhat shorter than his plane, gradually approached it, eventually coming to a halt above his left wing. It remained vividly etched in his memory right at that moment. He mentioned it wasn't directly on top, but rather it was hovering above. His aircraft was quite small, with a wingspan of approximately 5 meters, and this 4-meter-long object came to a halt above him, just 2 or 3 meters away.
Right outside the window.
Beyond the window, it startled him greatly. He gazed at this object, and generally speaking, it appeared as though nothing was present. Yes, but it seems there's a glass circle in front, like it also has a cockpit to see outside. Then, he thought to himself, it was just his guess, and he turned his head, wondering if he was hallucinating. Just as he hadn't settled his mind, something caught his peripheral vision on the right side. Another one came from the right, and when he looked, it was the same as the one on the left, disc-shaped and elongated, a long oval, not a perfect circle. It slowly approached and stopped on the right side of his machine.
Is it tall? This one is quite flat.
One on the left, one on the right. They're the same.
Father has diarrhea.
From the feeling of it, it's like a part of the airplane. At this point, Carlos was panicked. He considered, hey, is this another plane or some kind of flying object? After all, his flying altitude wasn't that high. It could be something like what we mean today, for example. Objects similar to drones, although drones were not particularly prevalent in the year 1975. While he was still pondering what this object could possibly be, something abruptly appeared from a considerable distance directly in front of him, approaching his aircraft at an exceptionally high velocity. He was fearful that it might collide with him, so he instinctively pushed the control stick to evade it, only to discover that the control stick was not functioning. This thing flew over and was about to collide. It got very close to the propeller and went underneath the plane. He estimated that it didn't hit, but as soon as it went down, there was a loud bang, and the plane shook. From the feel of it, he realized it had hit him, and he wanted to see if his plane was damaged. As he extended his head outward, it was absolutely unbelievable. He couldn't quite manage to get his head fully out. Gazing downward through the transparent glass, the object that had previously flown beneath his aircraft was now positioned on top of it, carrying his entire plane along. There were 3 flying saucers. Each of the 2 mechanical devices possessed one, with one situated beneath, transporting the aircraft from the initial one, which appeared on the left, to the third one that was affixed to the plane. This entire sequence occurred within a mere few seconds, creating the impression of a monstrous entity. As the aircraft utterly lost control, Carlos made the decision to request assistance from the ground. During that period, Carlos's radio distress recording was accessible online. Carlos said, "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday is the global standard for aviation and maritime distress calls, similar to SOS in telegrams. Mayday is reserved for emergencies only and can't be used lightly. Misuse could lead to legal trouble."
Why is it called MAID?
It originates from the French language, specifically meaning rescue me or help me. Subsequently, Carlos communicated through the player's radio, identifying himself and providing the location of everyone present. He stated, "My aircraft has lost control, and there are 3 unidentified flying objects encircling it." Not long after Carlos transmitted a distress signal, the airplane began to ascend swiftly on its own accord. It could climb up. Due to the rapid ascent, Carlos also died.
Fixed in the chair? Those 3 UFOs just stayed.
That position, yeah, it really looks like part of the plane. It moved forward with it, and quickly the plane shot up from under 3,000 meters to 4,500 meters. The truly terrifying thing starts now, as the plane reaches this altitude, suddenly stalls, and slowly enters a free fall.
Wasn't there a flying object?
There was a disc carrying him, but it seemed to be of no use. The plane started to fall, and at that moment he thought, "It's over, I'm done for." Shortly after the plane began to descend, when Carlos was in complete despair, the discs on both sides of the wings left, and the craft flew away. He didn't know that the flying object below had left, and from that moment the plane became operable again. Carlos immediately grabbed the control stick of the plane and began a rapid descent. He said his thought at the time was that if he could find a flat area, he would land. He did not wish to continue flying, so after the control center made contact with Carlos, they made the decision to allow him to land within the nearby Mexican airspace.
It was the planned spot.
The designated place. And just as Carlos was about to land, he suddenly discovered that his landing gear couldn't be lowered. It's the 3 wheels below that I tried to lower, but...
Is the saucer still there?
I don't know, and he also isn't sure if the flying saucer's wheels underneath can be lowered. The control center said, "Quickly check for the fault." He said, "If they can't be lowered, I still need to land." He was in such an emergency, so afraid, he saw a grassy area next to the runway and said he would land there. The control center immediately closed the airport and handed over the rescue personnel to you. Just as the plane was about to land on the grass, the landing gear came down on its own, and he managed to land smoothly. The plane started taxiing on the grass, gradually slowing down, and before it came to a complete stop, Carlos jumped off the plane and ran away. Run quickly, rescue team. You can imagine how scared he is of flying.
Only him.
He's alone, this.
It is merely his imagination.
Think so? It's possible, as he's the only one who can prove it. Because the Mexico City airport was closed at the time, it attracted a lot of media. Later, when it was known that someone saw a UFO, the news spread quickly. After Carlos was rescued by ground personnel, he was immediately taken by the Mexican Aviation Accident Investigation Bureau for investigation. Initially, they assessed his physical state because his account was exceedingly fantastical, leading them to suspect he might have experienced a hallucination.
Did the dispatch center spot anything on radar?
As for unidentified flying objects, there actually were some, which was discovered later on, but during the rescue, they didn't know. Juna said, "There are flying saucers, and they quickly took him for an examination. After conducting blood and urine tests, it was proven that he had no issues with alcohol or drugs, and his health was very good. The element causing hallucinations doesn't exist, so it's not a hallucination. There are 2 possibilities. Either he truly saw a UFO, or he made it all up, meaning everything was staged. It's possible it was all a performance, and the stakes are high. We've mentioned that pilots are cautious about discussing UFOs, because if a pilot claims to have seen one, there's a big chance they might lose their job.
Why?
Well, the thing is, it's not that seeing a UFO is unverifiable and therefore I say you're dishonest. It has nothing to do with that. The important thing is if you claim to have seen a UFO and there is no other evidence to prove its existence, then the only explanation is that you experienced a hallucination. And being a pilot requires a very high level of psychological resilience, so hallucinations are not acceptable. There cannot be any possibility of experiencing hallucinations, correct? Therefore, if a pilot states, "I believe I saw a UFO," they promptly require psychological counseling. The repercussions are so serious that it could directly terminate their career. So, UFOs are particularly significant for pilots.
It's a taboo subject, and for ordinary people, it's not so easy to see, right?
Only they see it. They're not willing to talk, but if it's official history...
If it's truly a real UFO, then no way.
It would certainly be considered, but it's quite challenging. In other words, since Carlos has the courage to say it, it indicates that the likelihood of this being true is considerably high.
He's still quite...
Young, yes, only 20 years old, right? And later, a fact proved what Carlos said was indeed true, which is what I mentioned earlier about the radar data. Later, the Accident Investigation Center went to the Control Center, and the Control Center then... The accident investigator said that when Carlos called for help, we had already detected an unidentified flying object on the radar.
Got it, yes.
This thing was flying right alongside his plane. At first, there was suspicion it was another plane, but there shouldn't have been any other aircraft in that airspace at the time. There should have been other planes. Later, this thing did something that made the ground control center directly conclude that this guy was definitely not a plane. It was when it left that the radar showed it made a sharp turn. It flew off in the opposite direction. At that time, no aircraft could perform such a maneuver. It was too elegant. The issue wasn't elegance, but rather that it defied the laws of physics and normal aerodynamics. Regardless of the field of study, it simply shouldn't move that way. So, this radar data essentially proved that it must be a product of non-human technology, and therefore it wouldn't be dismissed. In fact, there was no tragedy. Actually, it was a matter of luck at the time. The reason why the radar captured this thing so clearly was because it was very close to the airport. Many radars around captured this thing, and it was seen from various angles. However, the radar captured this thing as one. It's not 3, it's 1. When it flew away, it left together.
They also came together, right?
Wasn't there also several in that 1628 incident? But
We managed to capture just a single one, so my friend, why do all UFOs exhibit this particular characteristic? Perhaps they truly are a singular entity, yet to us, it appears as though there are numerous ones, or maybe some sort of illusion. It's like a shadow clone, right? The speed is so fast that we thought there were many of them.
Yes, it was a mess, and at that time it must have been quite chaotic.
Right, that can't be eaten. It's just that Carlos and these three didn't understand. The contact time might not have exceeded 2 minutes in total.
That 1628 time was very...
It took a long time, and after this matter spread from Mexico, the United States became aware of it and was particularly interested in it. They were interested, and even sent NASA experts to Mexico to uncover the truth. The US was worried it might be a high-tech weapon or secret project, noting that even they didn't know about this technology people already had, so they wanted to learn more. After the American experts obtained the radar data and Carlos's testimony, they analyzed it and concluded that this type of flight is absolutely beyond the capabilities of any current technology in the world. They acknowledged it as a UFO, indirectly admitting that this is a standard UFO.
oh, during the last 1628 incident, he was silenced, not allowed.
He remained silent regarding the 1628 incident, and multiple individuals on the aircraft witnessed it. The United States did not conceal the event, but a group of individuals did. Among them was Carlos. Following this occurrence, he returned home to recuperate for a few days. A few days later, one day while he was driving on the street, a black sedan blocked his car, and two men wearing black suits and black sunglasses got out.
Got it.
Yes. They instructed him, like the men in black, not to speak recklessly, and then left. From then on, Carlos avoided media interviews until this incident happened. 3 decades later, in 2000, during the resurgence, the American media interviewed Carlos, and he finally shared the whole story.
He was uncertain whether those two mysterious men in black were American or Mexican, but they communicated in Portuguese. Not overheard.
Why do NASA specialists assert that this unidentified flying object is unquestionably beyond the capabilities of present-day Earth technology? It is primarily due to this object demonstrates two astonishing characteristics. The first is according to Carlos's description. Two were perched on his wings, and he was in a very small plane with wings that frequently wobbled from side to side. It is not as stable as a large plane, so the flying saucer persistently hovers over its wing, ensuring it remains extremely close without making contact. To maintain such flawless coordination, this object must possess highly precise radar and extensive computational capabilities similar to the stabilizers we have nowadays, correct? It continuously tracks your current movement and remains in synchronization with you. This is even more difficult in terms of flight. In 1975, there were no aircraft capable of achieving such a high level of flight difficulty. Even now, there isn't anything like it. You can't just stop on an airplane wing. To achieve this kind of calculation, you would need to build a supercomputer. And a supercomputer obviously can't be placed on a thin, 4-meter long plane, right? So NASA experts believe that the technology level of this thing far surpasses the technology of the United States in 1975, possibly representing the highest level of technology on Earth. Additionally, there's the way this thing's radar data shows movement that defies the laws of physics. We can't make something that defies physics. So what exactly these three things are, we still don't know. But one thing's certain.
In 1975, it was already impressive. Would you consider this the most direct and recent encounter? Oh.
This counts.
2 or 3?
It's quite close, but even if it's very close, it might only be considered a first-kind encounter. Just like this kind of contact with UFOs and aliens. There are a total of 9 categories of contact. The first category is the lowest level, and the 9th category is the most advanced. This belongs to the first category, as it is with humans now.
The base for alcoholic drinks isn't there now.
Humans can only get to category 3.
Category 3, Master.
Broadcasting at level 3 allows one to see this UFO completely clearly. The alien, he sees it clearly. He didn't observe it with full clarity, because by his description, it was just a greyish-white object shaped like a butterfly.
There was something like glass on it, and the person from the 2628 world observed this flying object clearly for a long time, but it was quite dark.
It was just seen, as I mentioned, it was circling there, but we didn't see it up close to know exactly what it looked like.
What's the second type?
What? The second type refers to tangible evidence, such as when a UFO emits a laser, and swoosh, it forms a crater on the ground. That crater might persist, or when the UFO approaches you, it directly inflicts burns on your body. Injury or triggering a nuclear reaction in your body. That's physical evidence in the second category.
Oh, really? Is there genuinely something referred to as the fourth kind?
The fourth category is being abducted by aliens and taken for experiments, you know.
This is the fourth kind. It belongs to the fourth kind.
It's rare for anyone to claim alien abduction, yet there's no way to prove it. If we can prove just one case is type 4, then we have it, but right now the most we have is up to type 3. There is some evidence for the third kind. As for the fourth kind, evidence like the Kiowa language actually belongs to the fourth kind. The fifth kind is when we can already communicate with aliens, meaning we send a signal and they respond, which belongs to the fifth kind. Our current SETI program continuously sends out signals, right? Once someone responds, the fifth kind is achieved. The sixth kind is when aliens harm or kill humans on Earth, which falls under the sixth kind, meaning they have started to actively attack us. If the fact of harm can be confirmed, then the sixth category is realized. The seventh category is when we have a union with aliens, even to the extent of having children. That's called the seventh.
Yes, exactly. Those are the 7 types plus the 9th type.
Listen to me, ballet is when aliens have already started a large-scale attack on Earth. Earthlings are already aware of the existence of aliens, and they have started attacking Earth. They are hostile. This is the 8th type. The 9th type is when the existence of aliens has become common knowledge, universally acknowledged, and we have reached an agreement with the aliens to peacefully develop and coexist in this universe as different species. Ah, that's the 8th type. There are still barriers, right? There's still hostility because I don't get you and you don't get me, so conflict might arise. The 9th type is when everyone knows each other well.
But by the 8th category, they have already attacked us, and they will continue.
9 might not appear in order. It doesn't strictly follow this sequence and could jump to 9. Oh, it's emerged. Earthlings embrace each other as this is directly at 9.
But right now, there aren't any Earthlings who have been attacked by aliens like that.
In certain instances, individuals have asserted that they were assaulted. They were attacked, but there's no fatality, no injuries, or anything like that. Most cases are concentrated in the first 3 categories, and the majority are basic sightings, where people saw something, but it's not very clear.
What about catching UFOs or something? That's okay too.
It counts too.
It's a category, it counts.
A category, but then 1/6.
2/8's also a category.
Yes, because these 2 or 3 are in the same category, and 100 meters, 200 meters are too. But clarity is needed. If it's too far and unclear, it could fit several categories.
It's just an online post.
Indeed, those photographs precisely resemble the occasion when the Mexican military once captured images of unidentified flying objects, a total of 11, trailing a military aircraft which cannot be categorized at this moment. Why? Because indeed these 11 unidentified flying objects were officially announced by the military, stating that there were 11 UFOs following our plane. Later, it was discovered that these 11 bright spots matched the positions of the 11 chimneys of a Mexican power plant. They didn't move. How could they be following you from afar like this? I was scared because it seemed like there were 11 points in the distance. Later I thought it might be the flames coming out of these 11 chimneys, but we can't fully confirm it now. The Mexican military hasn't come out to explain whether these are chimneys or indeed unidentified flying objects. However, when they initially announced unidentified flying objects, the military, yes, perhaps the authorities released something that was clearly fabricated, labeling it as unidentified to conveniently demonstrate that the majority of UFO sightings are not genuine.
That spot in Mexico is quite... Many have captured it. Yes, in Mexico.
The majority of unidentified flying objects have been discovered in Mexico, correct? Yes, specifically around the Popocatépetl volcano. There are always people who can see around the crater of this volcano, with unidentified flying objects going in and some coming out, and others flying nearby. I mean, there are always people watching, but it's not like they're flying there all year round. It's just that half of the residents living nearby have personally witnessed these unidentified flights. Later on, many Mexican media outlets set up cameras in the area to film continuously over the years. Initially, an animation was set up to accompany it, and as a result, all the media filmed it, each capturing it. For example, it just whooshed into the volcano. This is clearly not a meteor or an asteroid, so what are they doing going in there? Mexican locals say it's possible that because the volcano is connected to the underground, this unidentified flying object might be able to withstand the magma and go down along with it. They go to the underground city. There's also a theory that the lava contains thermal energy. The UFOs might be replenishing their energy when they go in, and then they fly away. They can only go to active volcanoes for this. This is also considered a very mystical place. Japan's Mount Fuji has also been captured, but not as much as this one. It is an active volcano. The reason why this active volcano is frequently captured in footage is because it could erupt at any time, and this volcano is particularly large. It is referred to as Mexico's Mount Fuji. If it erupts, it could potentially have a global impact due to the volcanic emissions. Once these emissions spread into the atmosphere, they could obscure the entire Earth. Therefore, aliens might be afraid of its eruption and often go inside to take a look. They might be good beings, possibly good beings.
And in Mexico, this is not by the river.
What we clearly know is that it's near the volcano, but whether there's a river near it in Mexico, we don't know. Because it's an active volcano, ordinary people can't get close. Why not go up to the crater earlier to see if there's a door or something inside? There's a door inside. And this volcano happens to be near the place where Carlos encountered the unidentified flying object. So some people think that Carlos encountered the UFO from that volcano.
What would prompt them to emerge and take hold of it?
Indeed, the intention is unclear. It suggests they might not be harmful, just not foes. You see, they're having playful banter with us.
Tossing it from up high is a bit scary to play with.
They grin.
It seems quite big, and I'm curious about the 4th category. Yes, yes, yes.
I need to explain tasks to everyone.